There are some years in your life that are pivotal. When the person you were before undertakes an epic journey to transform into the person you become. New collaborators, new surroundings, new ideas, new skills, new approaches combine into a symphony of new experiences that leave you forever changed in ways that were unimaginable just a few short months ago. And when you look back on all of the moments, all of the hard work, challenges, successes, and setbacks that contributed to this pivotal year, you can take pride in your accomplishments, take advantage of your new skills, recalibrate what's possible, and celebrate your new network of friends and fellow masters.
Hello, hello. What up, what up? How's it going? Good to see everybody here. Thanks so much for coming out on a rainy Saturday. My name is Stephen Weber. I am the Executive Director and Dean here at Berklee NYC. And I want to first off welcome everybody who came out to the open house, who's here with us in person. I also want to welcome everybody who is joining us on the internets as well. I'm going to give you just a real brief little overview of what we're going to be doing today so you know what to expect. This is actually going to be way cool. We've done a bunch of open houses, and this one is like totally different than any other open house we've ever done before. A couple of weeks ago, there was this huge collaborative concert called The Lounge, which was the mastermind of Loudon Stearns, our director of LED, our live experience design, which is being renamed, by the way, next year, Live Music Production and Design. Same program, new name. And it's a collaboration between the songwriting and production students, the live music production and design students, and the writing and design for musical theater students. And it's so epitomized just what we do here that we thought, wouldn't it be cool to go ahead and show the folks who come to the open house a little bit of that show so that they can experience that. So we're going to have some performances from that show. You're going to meet the faculty, you're going to meet the program directors, you're going to meet the students, and you're going to have a chance to ask questions. And in fact, that's one of the main things I want to say right up front is I want this to be a conversation. More than just a presentation, I want this to be a conversation. This is a nice, intimate setting here in the Black Box Theater, and I want your questions to be answered. Any questions that you have, there's no such thing as a dumb question. If it's something you're wondering about, please feel free to ask. And with that, I am going to open it up for questions to see if anybody has a question here, even before I get it going. But we're going to have some performances. We're going to have some discussions about what's going on in the program. And then at the very end, we're going to give a tour of the facility, and we're going to show you guys around, whoever can stick around. So does that sound good? All right, great, cool. So right off the bat, does anybody have any questions just to get the ball rolling in terms of a conversation? Anybody have a question? Okay, that's fine. If you don't have questions, that's great too, because that means that we get to get right into it. So I am going to now just basically introduce, we're going to have 3 acts back-to-back, songwriting production students that have collaborated with the live production, live music production and design students to see what you are about to see. So let's take it away. Everybody just give a big round of applause for our students coming up, and here we go.
took my first breath of fresh air in a while last week. Bypassing all the skyscrapers around me, I decided to poke my head out of the concrete and just take a breath of fresh air for once. And it's funny, but breathing for once felt like meeting you all over again. I don't think I've ever affiliated the feeling of being free to another person before. And it made me realize that I think wherever you are, you're my getaway.
I watch you as you pour me my coffee every morning. I heard it in the silence, love. And I saw you in the pages of the books that you gave me, and in the empty spaces, love. When I was walking through the halls, I hoped I'd run into you. And if you ever feel alone, you'll find me running to you. Cause I remember dimming all the lights, ditching all the fights, spending your nights with a fucked up kid. Driving my car through the day, you might get away, wondering if it ever gets better than this. Like, ooh, oh, oh, you might get away, you might get away. And I catch myself smiling, looking back at the time when some of my hair got stuck in your coat. But then the next thing I knew is we were closer than clueless, and we both vowed that no one would know. But all the others in the world, they don't compare to you. If I could do it all again, I know that I would choose you. Cause I remember dimming all the lights, ditching all the fights, spending your nights with a fucked up kid. Driving my car through the day, you might get away, wondering if it ever gets better than this. Like, ooh, whoa, whoa, you might get away, you might get away. Ooh, whoa, whoa, you might get away. Do you remember all the late night calls, the photos we hid in your drawer, the lies you told your mom? I'm hoping you still remember it all. Cause I remember. Cause I remember dimming all the lights, ditching all the fights, spending your nights with a fucked up kid. Driving my car through the day, you might get away, wondering if it ever gets better than this. Like, ooh, whoa, whoa, you might get away, you might get away. Ooh, whoa, whoa, you might get away. Said I remember dimming all the lights, ditching all the fights, spending your nights with a fucked up kid. Driving my car through the day, you might get away, wondering if it ever gets better than this. Like, ooh, whoa, whoa, you might get away, you might get away. Ooh, whoa, whoa, you might get away, you might get away.
Patiently waiting, think I'm losing my mind. You've left a bitter taste, closing in, I'm confined. I need a palate cleanser. I don't want you to be mine. Ooh. I impatient with changing, 'cause I thought you would grow by now. This heat we're exchanging, try to keep it on fire somehow. You said that you do better, but I'm kissing the same sour mouth. Oh my love, it's a waste. I wish I could erase the definitions that I made, that I engraved in the lobes of my brain. None of them came true. None of them define the real you. I recoil from the taste. You mislead, you misplace. Leave me be, leave me no trace of the heart you defaced. You said that you'd do better, but I'm left with this aftertaste. 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 Oh, you said that you'd do better, but I'm left with this aftertaste. I'm impatiently waiting. I'm impatiently waiting.
Can't you tell by my face I like to know you like the back of my hand? Let's go out dancing to a wasted, let the panopticon around us fade to black. Push me into the bathroom, I can be less than a one night stand.
Wow! Give it up for Alex and Sophie and Amjad. Hi, everyone. I'm Marilee James, Program Director for Songwriting and Production. Thank you so much for being here. This is a real treat. Yeah, come on out, Sophie. Come on out, Alex. Wow! The stars of tomorrow right here. So, let's talk about that for a second. Sophie, let me first say, everything you were hearing, the tracks, these guys made. I think it's easy to forget that when someone's also just a star and performing and singing and being amazing. But those tracks were made in class, and the songs were written in class. So, Sophie, could you tell us a little bit about like where you were before the program, how your production style has evolved?
Yeah, for sure. So I was kind of, I'm from Australia, and back in Australia I was doing a lot of songwriting and singing in general and kind of acoustic-y stuff when it came to production. But then coming here, I learned a lot about production really quickly on Ableton. And
It seems like you did.
So this is my session for that song. I think I just tend to like nerd out and become a bit of a hermit and just sit on the computer for hours and make stuff. Which is really fun, and it's been really great for performances and assignments like this. This is actually, for songwriting class, we had to write a 12-bar blues, so I wrote that, and then it turned into this. But it's cool, yeah.
Oh, incredible. And Alex, tell us about where you were before the program and how that's kind of tied in with what you're doing now, which was absolutely incredible.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, so before I was in this program, I don't want to carbon date myself, but I spent some time in marketing, and so I was able to take what I was doing with marketing and branding and kind of bring it to the program and incorporate it into what I wanted to do as an artist, which was really, really wonderful. So I got to work with my amazing lighting designer, Tiff, with this, and start working on live performances a little bit more in a branding guide sort of way, just kind of marrying the two.
And I mean, both of you, I feel like I could have seen that at Madison Square Garden. Tell me, like, how did you learn to move like that? Was that something you knew how to do already? Is that something you learned here?
Sophie's excellent at choreography. I am terrible at it. I learned that here.
Who taught you that?
One of our staff, Breton. Yeah, she runs the movement and style class, and yeah, she's amazing.
We both kind of had rehearsals where we had these really big songs, but on stage we aren't super comfortable being the same person that we are in the songs.
That's fair.
And so I know, at least for me, I can't speak for Alex, but I said to Brandon, I was like, just pull everything out of me that you possibly can, work really hard, just like make me do stuff, and that's why I was like on the floor and stuff, you know.
And it paid off, and I think a really big part of this program is not only making the music and the productions, but also learning how to present that to the world in a way that's as impactful and compelling as possible.
But still genuine, like it still feels like me, which is cool.
Agreed.
Yes, still authentic. Alex and Sophie, you guys are such rock stars. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'd like to bring up our incredible assistant program director, Arun, and our first performer, another rock star, Amjad.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Amjad, I'd like you to talk about that performance you just did. It has a lot of deep emotion behind it, and so it seems like there's definitely something there in terms of how you came up with it, and maybe you could share that with us.
Yeah, the song I shared with you is called Getaway, and I'm from Lebanon. I just moved here for the program, and I've always been, like, I don't think growing up, I've ever had this person who was my getaway, and I just referred to like all these cliche, cringy movies and music videos, and I kind of envisioned myself in this universe where I had this person, and I had this person who was my escape. And I sort of escaped into the song and into the songwriting, and this is what you heard, Getaway. And it was just like such a therapeutic escape for me to write that song, and I hope I was able to also transmit the same emotion I felt writing the song to you guys today.
Excellent. Yes, you definitely did. Amjad has one of the most naturally charismatic personalities in the program. How did the program maybe help you develop your artistic voice from before you came in?
Thing is, first of all, being in New York City, everything's crazy. Everyone's hustling. You feel the energy. Everyone has a goal, and that's so motivational in a way, because if you are making an active effort to be in New York City, that means you deserve to be in New York City, and you've worked enough, and you have all it takes to be in New York City. Let alone coming to a program with so many talented musicians, artists, everything. As you've seen, this is just a small sample. I swear it's like 10 times more amount of people who can do all this stuff. It just drives this motivation to be the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Not to mention that, like, we have to write a song every week. We always, there are so many collaborators. If you just pick your hand, you'll find someone to collaborate with. It's just so much fun. And I don't think you can find this in other places. I know for a fact that in Lebanon I couldn't find this. So I feel like it has helped me grow as an artist, and I've been making so much more music than I used to do this time last year. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things about this program. Collaboration is such a huge part of it, and you'll meet people from all walks of life and cultures and different talents. So that's one of the best things here to get out of it, for sure.
Yeah.
So before Amjad goes, do we have any questions from the audience regarding his performance or anything about the program that he's experienced?
No questions?
No?
By the way, sorry.
We have a question right here, yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like?
Hold on, he's got a microphone for you there.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to collaborate to come up with the performance and the visuals and the lighting? And
I was just about to mention that, actually. So as you've seen, this is like a segment of a thing we had a week ago called The Lounge, where it's like this it's sort of like working for like a concert, you know? And it's like everything's so planned. You have choreographers, you have stylists, you come to rehearsals, you have sound checks. This is my first time ever singing with in-ears, which was such a fun experience. And then we were paired up with people from the other program, the live music production design program. And I was paired with Mark, who's currently working on the camera. And he did all the, can you hear it from Mark? Him and I worked on the video, the intro video you saw, the visuals, everything. It was just him and I. He definitely put a creative touch on the performance and made it his own in a way. And I feel like I also never had that experience before coming here, whereby I would be paired up with someone I've never met before, share my deepest insecurities and emotions with them, and like expect them to like pull off such an amazing job at like visualizing what I feel. Like I could sing my emotion and Mark visualized the emotion, and I feel like it's such an interesting and unique blend, and like it kind of changed my perspective on how I want to tell stories moving forward. So also shout out to everyone who was in tech, like all the people working, all the staff, everything. Can we hear a round of applause for them? I think everyone did such an amazing job, and it's just so warm and amazing to be here. So if you come to Berklee, I feel like you will have many opportunities to collab with people you never expected to collaborate with. Like I never expected to see visuals, and like Mark and I were talking, we're like, I see the song as Pink, and Mark was like, got it, and then it's Pink. So yeah, it's been very fun.
Awesome, thank you for that.
Thank you.
So Amjad's going to go now, and we're going to bring up another member of our cohort, Ben.
Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one. Come on.
So in a couple minutes, you'll see Ben perform. The interesting thing about Ben is in our cohort, he's probably had the biggest evolution from where he started when he joined to where he is now. We have these weekly concerts here in the program that are run by our LMPD crew. And Ben used to come up with an acoustic guitar, microphone, and just sing us a lovely song. And now he's got this whole setup. So Ben, why don't you talk about how you've evolved in this program?
Cool, yeah, thanks. I've been a folk kind of bluegrass world acoustic singer-songwriter for many years, and came here. I really wanted to get into more electronic kind of styles of production, and was always kind of intimidated by Ableton and the world of, it's a deep rabbit hole.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm gonna do a song that been working on that has like a lot of electronic elements, but this is just the vocal chain that's going on. And it is just a vocal mic into my computer, and then in my computer it's chained to a program called Harmony Engine, which is similar to like a vocoder, but it samples your voice instead of like a synthesizer sound that is made to like mimic your voice.
Yes.
But so there's a long list of stuff to make that work because it's a little temperamental from time to time. But so there's a gate on it that kind of keeps all the low sort of noise out. Then EQ with a low cut to keep all the kind of low rumble. Got some compression, and then it goes into the plugin I'm talking about. And then it goes into another compressor, and then there's a few more things on the end that you can't see down there.
That's a pretty far distance from just you and an acoustic guitar.
It is, yeah. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been all the things.
Awesome. Is there any way we could hear some of that if the sound is pulled up?
Sure.
Yeah.
Try it out. Check, check. So that's just kind of the dry signal going through my laptop. Should have a little bit of reverb on there. But then if you play a chord, I'm speaking in an A minor. And then that's a G. So it's basically, it's fairly simple. I guess it's not fairly simple, but deceptively simple. It's just taking my voice and putting it into a chord.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any
Pretty
questions
fun.
from the audience before Ben does his performance regarding the setup? I think I see one right here.
You mentioned like the weekly concerts.
Yeah.
Is that for all the programs?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what is it like? I guess I'll ask. What is it like to perform in that? Yeah.
Ben? Sorry, just making sure that was working. What? Sorry, did you say what is it
like to perform in the weekly concerts?
It's really fun. It's great. It's nice to kind of just have one song to worry about rather than like a whole set. I have been performing pretty regularly for over a decade now, and I kind of took a break from that life to be here and to do this program, and it's been really nice to not have to worry about performing like long sets multiple times a week and just kind of be able to focus on like one song and come up on a Friday and be able to hang out with all the wonderful people here and the wonderful people in the program and hear what everybody else is working on. It's been really inspiring to get to see every week like everybody else's evolution and all the cool stuff everybody else is working on and kind of draw ideas from all of that and all of the universe of sound that everybody's sort of like plugging themselves into and just kind of see something and be like, oh, that's really cool. Like maybe I could like take a little piece of that and incorporate it into what I'm trying to do. So it's a lot of inspiration everywhere. A lot of super talented people and just always something new going on and super supportive environment. Everybody's so nice. Everybody's like really kind and yeah.
Well, all right, Ben, we'll let you get to your performance. We're looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Check, check.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I see all the love that you hide. Love and sorrow, ain't they one and the same? Holding on to tomorrow, get left out in the rain. We got to move together, or we'll end up woods and all. Ain't that the way to go? Oh, ain't that the way to go?
Thank you.
Yeah, Ben, great job. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Loudon Stearns. I'm the, take my headset off. I'm the program director for the Live Experience Design program, which is being renamed to Live Music Production and Design, I think for obvious reasons. We do a great job at producing live musical events here. And I'd like to bring out Dolly, who is the designer for this show, for this one act. Kind of amazing, right? I hope you were all kind of noticing how the lights and the visuals were synchronized with their performance and were highlighting the meaning of the song. And I'd just like to have a little conversation with Ben and Dolly. What was it like collaborating together, and how did putting a production like this together change the meaning of the song or change the song itself?
Cool, yeah. So this song, I actually wrote this song. I've written a lot of new songs since I've been here, but this is actually kind of an older song that used to be, I actually used to do this song with a bluegrass band. And we put together this show, The Lounge, and about 2 weeks beforehand, I turned in a demo of this song, and it was just an acoustic guitar with a weird effect on it that made it sound kind of more like a synth, and a kick drum. And a vocal. And that was it. And yeah, it kind of Loudon here allowed me to work on it for this show. I brought it into the show, and a bunch of people over the next couple days were like, you should think about some drums on there. And so started building the track, and Dolly was huge in helping me, not only with all the visuals that you saw, but also with all the mixing and getting the drums up to snuff, sort of where they needed to be. And yeah, so it evolved into what you saw here, but you know, Dolly and I were kind of the main people on it, but so many different people in this room went into making this song. It wasn't just us; it was Loudon taking the kick drum a couple, maybe more than a couple milliseconds, to make it, you know, kick a little bit more in time. And Arun for mixing help, and just like so many different people took a listen to this and, you know, made it grow and evolve into what it was. So
yeah, just following up on that, it was mentioned earlier, but Ben is going from the folk indie direction into an electronic one, so it was really cool to work with him because I like indie music and my background is mainly in Ableton, so it was fun to work with someone who wanted to turn that into more of an electronic sound. In terms of the meaning of the song, you know, it's important to sit with the artist and understand the emotion behind it, the story, so that you can bring it through in footage, video edits, whatever it is, lighting, to try and capture that on stage. So yeah, that was all part of the process. It was an evolution of a process, and that's what you saw here today.
Thank you so much, Dolly. I'm curious, Dolly, we talked to Ben earlier about how Ben didn't have a whole lot of experience with Ableton and maybe was a little intimidated by some of the technology before he came here. What kind of experience did you have with lighting and with visuals before you came?
Absolutely no experience with lighting whatsoever. I went to shows and just enjoyed them pretty much. Video, very minimal. I did a social issue documentary class in college, but I went to a business school, so I'm completely pivoting by being here, but it's important to kind of like understand and welcome your creative self. And we learn a lot of different things like Premiere Pro, Resolume is another one, just lots of software that enable you to come up with a creative vision with a talented artist and make it happen.
Thank you. Yeah. I wanted to make it known that, you know, this can all seem intimidating. I don't know for anyone here if this does, right? There's a lot going on here, but we start with fundamentals. We don't expect a whole lot of experience, and we really pride ourselves in being able to take someone that has an interest and really give them the skills and the experience while they're here. Thank you so much for both joining us. Dolly, one more question. Where are you from?
I'm from Kuwait. My mom is from Lebanon. So, long ways away, but here we are.
I'm so glad that we can bring people from all over the world onto the stage. I'm very proud of what we create here. And let's give Ben and Dolly a hand. They did a great job on this performance. Thank you so much. You can head out if you want to head that way. That'd be great. I'd like to, you know, earlier we had some amazing performances a little earlier, right? Amjad performed at the very opening with Mark in the back. It was the designer. Mark's on cameras now, and that's an important point to make, is that a whole other aspect of the live music production and design degree is really learning camera work and capture for all this. We're very careful that all lighting design and video works really well on broadcast as well as in person, which is a fundamental part of all live events now. And I'd like to bring out the designers of the second two acts you saw today. Let's have Jess and Tiff come on out and talk a little bit about their experiences. So Jess, can you tell us a little bit about the song you produced, who you produced it with, what the song was, and the meaning of it?
Well, I did Aftertaste with Sophie Edwards, who is a huge, I'm really a fan of her. She came up with all the song. The first time that I heard it, I knew what I wanted. When I talked to her, she was like, that's what I want to. And it was real nice to perform with her.
Fantastic. And the design was beautiful. It really created a kind of like, there's like a meanness to it.
Yes.
It's kind of red. And what I noticed, I've seen it a couple times now, and one of the cool things we do here is all the lights are pre-programmed and work in time with the music, right? So we can design that ahead of time. And I was noticing all these pixel bars like flashing in time. It really reinforced the meaning of the song.
Yes, for us, it was really important to go with the pulses that the song has. We came up also with this choreography where the lights will follow Sophie throughout this stage. And it was really nice seeing it like all come together with everything. With the clothes, with the lights, with the video. It was great.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Jess and her production of Sophie's Aftertaste? Yeah, we have one in the front here. Give us a second. We, one of the things we're conscious about here is we always have two audiences, right? There's always an in-person audience, and there's always a audience in the out there in the world. And doing sound for that has particular challenges, like this, right? If we just had a question, everyone on YouTube wouldn't hear. So thank you for waiting. What's the question?
I just, in general, that was such a dramatic piece, like very. So I wanted to know, like what sort of your artistic background is, because I feel like it was a very artist's performance.
Thank you. We also did a mood board before getting with the artist. For me, it was something of kind of the Billie Eilish presentations, like all in just one color. There was a lot of blacks. I tried to go with that. It was right after Halloween. We had Halloween in mind, so it was perfect for that time. I have experience in audio, which is not what I did here. I did just the video and the lights. But working with musical theater, you have to be dramatic. And I wanted to perform that here, to make it like more into what the audience could feel than what you could have here.
Thank you so much, Jess. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Tiff, so tell us a little about working with Alex, a.k.a. Flower Boy.
So Alex is one of the nicest person to work with, because like every time I give him ideas, he's like, I love it. Just do whatever you want. So there's like a lot of space for me to try out all the possibilities. And then sometimes I would throw something to him and be like, do you like this? And then like we would come back and forth with some ideas, and then and then this is what you got after all these discussions.
It was a beautiful performance, and I felt Alex had a really defined character, which I really loved. Right? And I was surprised to see him in that light after knowing him as a student over the whole semester. And we've talked a lot about this production, but we are all students, and I'm curious how what you did here relates to what you're doing in the classes that we have in the program.
So we do have like computer programming class or video design class, and also like lighting class. And I
I teach a sound class too.
Yes, and sound class. But I basically use what I learned in class. For example, all the softwares, Touch Designer, After Effects, Premiere, all these video editing softwares. And I put my ideas into the software and made those ideas possible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tiff. That's great. Are there any questions for Tiffany about the production of Flower Boy, or anything about the student experience as here on the Berklee NYC campus? Well, you know what? I think one of the reasons we don't is you've already asked some amazing questions. Earlier, you had asked about the collaboration process, and thank you so much for that. It's a big part of what we do here, so I appreciate the question. It feels like you're already all in the same mindset as we are. So thank you so much, Jess and Tiff. I'll let you go. Let's give them a hand. Let's give the designers a hand. So I'd like to move on in the program. We're going to talk about the writing and design for musical theater portion of our program. And let's bring out Fuad and Dan to chat a little bit about that and for a couple more performances. Here we go.
Let's give it up for Loudon, everybody. It's so great to have someone like Loudon here at Berklee NYC, who is just, in my mind, is just this magician. My name's Dan. I'm an associate professor for writing and design for musical theater. So I'm the story and narrative person. So everything that happens in this room is a mystery to me, and I'm just so glad that there's someone and these students who are way smarter than me to roll this out on an almost daily basis, it seems like. I'm here with the amazing Fuad Dakwar. Fuad, thank you so much for being here today. I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about your Berklee NYC journey, and then we're going to hear an exciting number from your original musical, Fuad of Nazareth, which is really exciting. Okay, so I know, let's hear it. Yep. So Fuad, how did you discover Berklee NYC? How did it creep into your consciousness?
So it was actually in my last week of undergrad, I was writing my thesis, which was another musical, and I come upon a Facebook ad for the Writing and Design for Musical Theater program. I'm one of the few Gen Z still on Facebook.
You know.
But it felt like really a perfect moment where I knew what I wanted to do. I know that I want to go into the artistic field and musical theater writing in particular. And then I see this program that is 1 year. It's super robust, and it's changing what musical theater could be and pushing those boundaries in the way that I really want to and dream of.
And you're at the forefront of what musical theater is going to be moving forward. It's very, very exciting. You're a thrilling artist, and it's just such an honor to be a part of this process with you this year. So can you tell us a little bit, can you give us the elevator pitch? We like to call it the elevator pitch of your show.
All right, so I'm going to get you all involved. Raise your hand if you've ever been to summer camp ever in your life. All right. What about seeing a movie about summer camp? Keep your hands up. Yeah, okay, that's a lot of hands, right? It's pretty core to the American experience. All right, now keep your hands up if you've ever seen a movie. Now tell me if you've ever seen a movie about a kid who goes to summer camp at 14 years old in Nazareth, not Pennsylvania Nazareth, but in Jesus territory. I think heard he was around there. No, hands are going down. Okay. So I'm writing a story about the time when I was 14 and I went back to my where I was born in Nazareth and had a summer camp experience there. It was culture shock after culture shock, having lived in New York for most of my life. And I'm writing about that now, and I'm super excited to be bringing my first semi-autobiographical experience to life.
We call it autobiofictionography, right? So, so Fouad, can you set up this number in the context of the show for everyone today?
Yeah, absolutely. So our main character, Fouad of Nazareth, is at a dance party for the summer camp, and for the first time, he sees a kid his age say his name in Arabic, Fouad, the proper way, after being Fouad for most of his life here in New York. So that's the.
I love this song, and I can't wait to hear it. I'm going to go over here and do that.
All right,
and we're bringing out Jake Weinstein, Michelle Rocket to help out. Great.
Thank you all for being here. Oh, the amping on would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Still nothing. We're doing it a cappella. Yeah, it's on. There we go. All right. I was just keeping you in suspense for a little bit, All right, here we go. Back in New York, how can I know who I am if I don't hear my own name? There it's caught in my throat, but here they don't give a damn, so maybe I can do the same. Back in New York, Fuad's the odd kid when with his parents stuck at home. But back in New York, another version exists. His name's Fuad, and he has taken control of me. You should hit the floor and do a little depth game. Fuad, my God, Fuad, did you leave our dance across the sea? So glottal, stop till you drop. Back in New York, I feel I'm playing a part within a play I misrehearsed. It's like they're filming for porn and I got caught in the shot. But what's the plot and will they make me take off my shirt? I sure hope not, cause Fuad, you should hit the floor and do a little depth game. Fuad, my God, Fuad, you know you belong in NYC. So glottal, stop till you drop. Horn a
بالناصري أصلا عارف مين انتي لا بس عرفوا يقولوا اسمي. And that's a pretty good start. I'm glad I'll stop till I drop. Yeah, I'm glad I'll stop till I drop. I'm glad I'll stop till I drop. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Michelle's song with some incredible performers. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Fouad one more time. I'm going to invite my cohort classmate Tim to play some violin and our postgraduate fellow Jake here. My name is Michelle. I am currently in the class of the Writing and Design for Musical Theater cohort. This song that I'm about to perform is from a musical that I've been working on called Young Me. It's about a young Korean girl and her family moving to a small town in southwest Colorado, into which that town just lost its time capsule. So this song is really from our main character, Grace, and she is trying to figure out what it means to take up space, and also she's realizing that she's being noticed in a different way than she has before. If I could choose a life of my own, I know it sounds kinda crazy, but I wanna be alone. And if I could see any future right now, I wouldn't wanna be special. I wanna be in the crowd. No ribbons, no trophies, no fortune, no fame. No reward is greater than staying unnamed. No parties, no gifts. Sorry, that's it. Can't think of anything better than being unknown, being unknown, being alone, alone. If I could go somewhere remote, at least there'd be no one to make me their joke. And if I could be just a version of me, I wouldn't be just an object or a fantasy. No ribbons, no trophies, no fortune, no fame. No reward is greater than staying unnamed. No parties, no gifts. Sorry, that's it. Can't think of anything better than being until I disappeared. They made it clear I'm not someone they wanna know. Just a weed in the garden, waiting for a pardon so I can finally go. I dream of being just left alone.
Beautiful. Such powerful performance, Michelle. Thank you so much. Let's give one more hand for Tim, Michelle, and Jake. Hi, everybody. I'm Julianne Wick-Davis. I'm the program director for writing and design for musical theater. We're so excited to have you here today. So excited that we're able to share some work that the students are doing right now. And I'd like to ask them a couple of questions and then give you an opportunity to ask some questions as well. But first, I want to start with Michelle. Again, such a powerful, beautiful performance, but also powerful, beautiful story that you're telling right now. And your background, though, is really in performance and production. So what made you decide to do this crazy thing called musical theater and come to Berklee NYC?
Yeah, I realized that I was collecting all these stories and experiences as an artist, and being, you know, a producer and a songwriter and an artist, I felt this musical theater was the perfect place and the perfect art form to elevate my storytelling, because it's not only just about like the stories that we tell, it's about these worlds that we build. And it's kind of happened, it's an old love for sure. I think musical theater returned back into my life, and Berklee was the perfect place for me because of those intersections. And I think because the program values the intersection of technology and storytelling, it just was like, it was just a perfect place for me. And it was a happy accident, yeah.
I love that. And what has been the most surprising thing for you since you have started the program?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One is how much fun I'm having. Not that I didn't think everyone here was nice and wonderful, but I am just having a blast in all of my classes and all of my assignments. And then the other thing is that everything that I thought I was going to do in this program, everything I planned, none of that happened. And I learned that adaptability and flexibility really for the purpose of the story is the main sort of North Star as a writer. And so I'm learning that how much power you have as a writer. And so that's been really surprising and fun.
And you're writing something that is very personal. And as Fuad also is writing something that's very personal. But we also have Tim here, who is also part of the current cohort. And Tim's writing with a collaborator, writing a really beautiful, relevant story about Alan Turing. And talk a little bit about your journey here too, because it's not the traditional path that you would think musical theater writers would take.
Sure. So right before this program, my soul belonged to corporate America, and I was working as a civil engineer for a couple of years. While that was kind of steady, I just wasn't happy doing that. I've done music my whole life, and violin and singing, and been a huge fan of musical theater. But coming to this program was really my first step into finally pursuing my passion and what ignites joy inside of me.
That's great. I love that. And I feel like that's the kind of thing that draws people to musical theater, and that you all are now doing this together and discovering those stories that you want to tell. And I also want to just say that you have seen like our quadruple threat cohort members today that are performers as well as writers, but that is not a requirement for you to be a part of the WDMT cohort. It's all about wanting to, having, you know, the passion to tell stories and to do that with words and music. And I also want to just real quickly, Jake, who is our grad fellow, he went through the program last year, and I want to ask you, what was like the most memorable thing about your experience?
Sure, yeah, so I went through the first cohort last year and graduated, and probably the most exciting thing is the culminating experience, which in our program is writing a full-length musical and then presenting 15 to 20 minutes of that in a fully realized, basically, production right here in the Black Box on this stage. And that was just an incredible experience to get to go from writing it and just kind of reading it in class to then having professional actors come in, professional directors, designers, musicians, the whole thing. And to get that opportunity is so rare, especially so early on in the process. So to be able to see that right at the get-go was incredible, and learned so much, had an incredible time, and yeah, it was just one of many amazing experiences I had the past year.
Yeah, and you were also able to leave here with all the assets that you needed to promote your show.
Exactly.
And, present it to people that would be interested in developing it. So that's really exciting too. Thank you so much. Are there any questions for these members of the WDMT cohort? All right. Oh, yes, Madeline.
Me again. This is the third question I've asked. So it's a question about the collaboration between the cohorts. So, for example, you saw that the other two cohorts did all their projects together, and they did, they designed for each other's program, for each other's performances and stuff like that. And I'm really interested in the multimedia aspect of musical theater. I love writing really dramatic things and seeing really dramatic visuals. So is there a lot of collaboration between, for example, the live performance cohort and the musical theater cohort?
In the first semester, they've been able to work together with these weekly concerts that we do. And then they will be doing more of that in the second semester, where now that the students have a good idea of what their shows are and the stories that they're telling, that they can really communicate with the cohort, the LMPD cohort, and start working together and see what ideas can be created together to help lift up these stories.
Awesome.
Great. Any other questions? Great. Thank you all so much. We're going to escort you off and bring out faculty.
Yeah. Give a big round of applause for all these folks, and for Julianne Wick-Davis, our amazing program director for writing and design for musical theater. So we're back. We're going to talk a little bit about the application process. We're gonna anybody who has questions about that, this is the time to ask those. Here in a minute, I'm going to ask a few questions of the program directors here, and then we can also take questions from you guys. I do want to mention the deadline for applications for the fall the fall of 23 is January 15th. So just get that in mind. January 15th is when you want to have all of your materials in. And one of the things that you need to turn in for any of the programs is actually a portfolio. As you've gotten the idea from talking to the students here so far, these are new master's programs. This is, our goal here was to try and start with a blank sheet of paper and have very forward-looking master's programs that are not, your grandfather's master's programs, but are the songwriting and production, for instance, is the way that songs are written now. Berklee, I'm really proud that Berklee has the very first songwriting major ever, and that was put up many years ago, and it's been evolving incredibly, and it's an incredible program, but things have changed a lot since we even started that program. When people were writing songs either by themselves or co-writing and then getting together with bands and rehearsing them. Songs now are realized so often in very collaborative writing rooms with beat makers and producers and artists and top liners and vocal producers, all getting in on the action and actually getting in on the copyright. There's also a lot to know about splits and sync and the business behind that. So we wanted to start a program from scratch that had that built into the DNA of it, how songs are written today, how popular hit songs are written now. Same thing with musical theater. There's some great musical theater writing programs out there, but this is no longer the Rodgers and Hammerstein era. This is the era of A Strange Loop and Hamilton and people who conceive and write. Do a lot more conceptualizing of what it means to tell their story than before. And then the whole live music production and design program, one of the things that we found out when we were asking people in the industry about what is needed right now in terms of, where are the jobs? What we heard over and over again is the technology around live production has changed so drastically, even just in the last 5 years, in terms of projection, in terms of screens, in terms of automated lighting, in terms of LEDs and robotics, that we can't find people with current skills. So again, we put up this program knowing that this was something that is needed in the industry, and I'm really proud to say that the folks who are coming through all of these programs are finding work. You know, they're finding gigs, and that's why we're here. We want to help people find the gig of their dreams, basically. So let's talk about the application process. The first thing I want to talk about is the portfolio. You don't necessarily, because these are new master's programs, you don't necessarily have to have a bachelor's in the same thing, right, to do this. So let me ask each of the program directors about the portfolio process. Why don't we start with you, Julia?
Sure, thanks, Stephen. So the portfolio for writing and design for musical theater is really about you showing us the work that you're most excited about. And as you see, people come from so many different backgrounds, so you don't have to have written a musical before or even have attempted to write a musical before. It really is about the music that you think best represents you as an artist, and the music that, or the work, not just music, but words too, that you are the most proud of and feel like it represents you. So there's no pressure to have written musical theater. It's really about the best work. Marilee.
Cool. I'm going to hand it to Arun to talk about. Yeah.
Could you talk about it?
So for songwriting and production, besides the letters of recommendation and the resume, what we're really looking for is to see where you guys are right now, to see where you are as an artist and what you're passionate about. And you don't need to have a whole album put together. You don't need to have it as developed as you saw the artists here today. Just show us where you are, whether you're just a songwriter, just a producer, or a little bit of both. We just need about 3 songs that represent who you are, and it's important for us to know what role you played in making those songs, whether you wrote the lyrics, whether you did the production or the beats, and that's basically what we're looking for. Thank you.
Great. And Loudon, how about LMPD?
Yeah, for LMPD, the portfolio, we're really trying to look at the breadth of things. So in this program, where we want people that have one deep skill. Maybe I've studied sound like Jess does, or I worked with visuals, or I worked with lighting, but then an interest in being very, very broad. Right, and so it doesn't have to be even one of the technical aspects of music production. It can be, we've had amazing filmmakers who are having amazing success here. We've had people that have been on the business side of productions or the stage management side that has great success here. You know, our goal is to develop people that have a deep skill, but then understand all the other roles, because productions now are highly integrated, and understanding all of the aspects of a production, knowing how they connect to each other, and knowing how to have empathy and communicate with everyone on a stage really is what's most important. We have to be adaptable in that way. And so with the portfolio for LMPD, it's about really showing us who you are as a holistic person, and then we get to have a great conversation in our interviews, which I think we should also chat about a little bit.
Yeah,
That's all right.
let's chat about interviews. Marilee, do you want to talk about the interview process for SMP?
So it's a great, I love doing interviews and getting to meet everyone from all over the world. I just had one. Someone was up at 3 a.m. in the morning telling me about their life. So it's just a really great chance for us to talk with you. Please bring questions to the interviews. As Stephen said earlier, there's no dumb questions. This is a great, just one-on-one time for us to really make sure you understand the program and all the different parts of it, and we'll also be able to respond to your portfolio, ask you some other questions that will help us get to know you as best we can.
One question we get quite a bit is about scholarships. There are scholarships available. You should definitely bring this up in your interview if you're interested in a scholarship. There's no separate scholarship application process. So it's the same process as you're going through in terms of the admissions process. So if you if getting a scholarship is really important to you because there's need, please bring it up in the in your interview. and also on your application as well. Any other things about the interview process, Julianne?
I'd like to one thing that just came out to my mind. You know, when I'm doing interviews, I'm thinking, is this going to be a good fit? And so there can be a lot of fear going into an interview, right? Like thinking I have to meet this person, I'm trying to prove myself to them, and that's really not what it's about. It's about making sure that we are going to be able to succeed together, and that's really what I'm thinking and trying to get to know you as you interview. Is this going to be a good fit? Can we supply what you need in the next stage of your career here? So I think we have to get rid of some of the fear going into it.
Yeah, totally. And I just want to add to that too. You know, for WDMT, just the art of musical theater is such a collaborative art. So it's important for us to just have these conversations and see what kind of experience that you're looking for. And, you know, even if you're wanting to write alone, ultimately you have to be collaborating with other people. So it's all about us making sure that we are all working together for the same purpose, and that's to be able to uplift your stories.
So I do want to open it up to questions from the room now. So don't be shy. We have a question right over here, and we're going to get the mic around so we can hear this on the YouTubes as well.
Hey, I'm wondering what kind of like character traits do you look for in an applicant, like someone who would be a good fit for the program?
Honesty, integrity. No, I mean, obviously, you know, those things. But yeah, let me put that to the program directors.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Hard work.
Yeah, you know, this is such a, as we keep saying the word collaboration, this is a really collaborative program, and we're looking for people who want to work with others, want to support others, and also who are open to learning and wanting to really take learning into their own hands as well in this master's program. And I would say those are some of my top ones. What about you, Julianne?
I would say, just to add to that there is a kind of rigor to all three of these specializations. So you have to be ready to just commit and jump in and say yes to everything. And I think if you do that, you will have an incredible experience.
I'd say so. Hard work is definitely required. I would also say, and this is something that we really try to encourage in all of our students, that, and this is, every single visiting artist we have says this too, don't hold your work too dear. You know, you care about it, but be open to input, be open to change. You know, one of the best things that you find out as you do this more and more and more is that the first thing you wrote is something that will give you the opportunity to rewrite. You know, will give you the opportunity to make it better. So if you're one of those people who you know, write something or create something and then you just hang on to it, try to get over that. Try to move on from that, because that's typically, by the time you see either a show, a musical theater, show fully realized, or even just the songs that we heard today, you kind of heard that from the students who were talking about the process. You know, where it started and where it is now is so different. The more you're open to ideas and feedback and incorporating and learning new things, I think the better. Yeah, but great question. Thank you. Other questions? Yeah, right over here we have somebody in the back row.
Hi, my name's David. I graduated from Berklee in 2018. Hi, Loudon.
Hi, David.
It's good to see you.
Hi, David. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. It's great to see you.
What'd you think about the performances?
Lovely. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, Loudon was my first production teacher, actually. Yeah, basically, it turned me from somebody who saw, microphones and speakers as the devil, coming from a classical background, into somebody who saw all those things as just another instrument, to control your sound. Yeah. Anyway, I know from my experience at Berklee that there's such a plethora of options. There's a million things going on all the time, and everything's wonderful. And it can be really easy to lose yourself in all the options and all the different aspects of the art. I'm personally interested in the musical theater writing and design. And there's a lot that goes into that. There's songwriting, there's design, there's storytelling, there's all that. What would you say is the core art that you're teaching?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. And
Thanks, David.
I feel like it's really all of the pieces of musical theater writing, you know, put together, they're really important, right? But it really has to start with a good story. And I think that's the thing that we really focus from the beginning, is finding the story that you're interested in telling, and then how do you tell that story. But it really is all about that. Nothing else matters. You know, all the bells and whistles, you know, and even your score can be. Let me finish my sentence. None of
matter,
that
Loudon.
matters if the story is not good. So I think that's what I feel like that's where the faculty, we're just all trying to make sure that there's clarity in your storytelling.
Thank you. Agreed.
It's a great question. Yeah. Other questions? Other questions? We're having some great questions here. Other questions? Da, da, da. Da, da,
When you're a teacher, you have to wait at least 10 minutes of
Yeah, I know,
silence
I know,
before
yeah,
you.
Exactly, before you move on. We'll edit this out of the video once we put it up. Any others? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Hi again. So I want to know a little more about what like the technology classes for the musical theater program is. So what you will be learning, because the design is a part of it.
Right, so you will be doing a demo and arranging class that happens that is really all about all of the engineering side of things. The things that are not in our specialization, there are so many electives that you have an opportunity to be a part of, and also ensembles that also kind of give you the opportunity to work in those as well.
Yeah, we just had a concert yesterday, as a matter of fact, by
Yeah.
the Generate Ensemble. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? That's
Yeah, because one of our
so cool.
WMT, Michelle,
Yeah,
who
so
you saw
there,
earlier.
the demo and arranging class, for one, is amazing in the WDMT cohort. We learn how to use Logic and how to create the fully realized demos, and that's a huge part of it. If you want to promote yourself, you need to have high quality audio, and so that's a great class, and there's a lot of technology there. And then
there's also
ensembles.
The ensemble. You also collaborate a lot with people who do screens, people who do lights, people who do sound. And as Jake was talking about, one of the things that happens at the end in the summer semester is you actually put up a fully realized 10-15 minute version of part of your musical. And so you have really put some thought into what is the look and feel of that, and how do I communicate with all these folks. There's an amazing elective on recording that. Do you want to talk about that, where you actually get in the studio and record?
Oh, you mean the orchestration class?
The orchestration class.
Yeah, the orchestration class that Tony Award-winning Michael Starobin teaches is really all about, how are you going to continue to support the storytelling through orchestration, and then he brings in Broadway pit musicians to play these arrangements that you have made. And then what happens with the demo and arranging, though, that they're able to, we hire musicians, and they come in and play your arrangements, and you do that in the studio so that you're walking out with some demos. Those are like some high quality demos that are done in these amazing studios.
Yeah, you're basically recording in the same studios that all the Broadway cast albums are made, with Ian Kagi Engineering, who's one of the top engineers to make a Broadway cast album. So it's using pit musicians from Broadway theater, which is pretty great.
In the spring, we're bringing in professional designers to really start those conversations with writers and understand what the relationship is, and just to kind of give you more of an idea of what that kind of collaboration will be.
There's a tough aspect about productions where there's so much to know. We can't do everything, but we have to know how to communicate with everyone. And we're even figuring this out in my program. I mean, in a year, we're covering lights, sound, camera, etc. I can't expect
to turn one of my students into Mark here, who's doing live sound for this. We can't make a live sound engineer of that quality in a year. It doesn't happen. I studied at Berklee for 4 years and still wasn't there and had to do a lot of experience after that, right? And so what we try to focus on is understanding how to communicate ideas well and working with professionals that know how to respond to those and training that communication and getting really high quality results, because that's what we found is most useful, you know?
Yeah, what I'd like to add to that, it's really kind of developing a shared language in doing this that I think is really important, and that's one of the things we really focus on.
Getting that vocabulary down, yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Right here.
What does the summer experience look like for the songwriting and the production programs?
I can take that one first if you want. So the summer semester is very much focused on you. We're trying to make sure that we're preparing you for what comes next immediately. I see in my program that we have to prepare people for the long distance. I'm going to be a famous designer and I have to understand artistic director of a Super Bowl show, right? But there is also the what happens in August. And so we have to balance those two. And I think in the summer semester, we're really focused on first finishing the CE, the culminating experience, which is a massive undertaking, right? So the summer semester is shortened, it's 6 weeks, and it's highly focused on the CE, getting that production done. Think of using this space or our other theater, which we just did an amazing show in that Stephen was just talking about, the Generate concert. But it's about finishing that production, which you've been preparing for the entire year, which is a huge thing, and then documenting it incredibly well so that you can present that to future collaborators and employers as the launching point for your own career, right? One project, and this project can make your career if you document it well, if you make good video of it, if you memorialize it in that way. And that really is so much of what that summer semester is about, that final preparation, that polish, making it look amazing, even if there were rough edges. Like Stephen was saying, we'll edit that part out. We'll do a little bit of that, and because that's what we all do, and get yourself ready for the next that next moment in your career. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, for LMPD, for SMP.
Yeah, very similar philosophy in the songwriting and production program, and we're also really getting you ready, as Loudon mentioned, for these defenses, where there's a large panel of industry professionals. You're going to stand there, and they're going to get to hear your entire mega mix of the music you've put together. And I know multiple people from last year that got jobs or internships just from this defense. So we're talking about that, and then we're really looking forward into the future. Your culminating experience in songwriting and production is a body of work, a body of music that you, with supporting assets, visuals, all the documentation that you can take into the world really as your calling card. So we have people from last year that amassed a huge body of singles, and they're releasing one every 6 weeks this year, and while they're working on their next thing. So it's really setting you up for what happens in August and then what happens in 10 years. Julian?
Summer for WDMT is finishing that first draft of your full-length musical. And that's in preparation for those showcases that Jake was talking about earlier. But you're also doing these one-off classes that you're pitching your show to producers who develop new work. You are talking to music directors. You're talking to directors. You're really kind of getting a sense of what it's going to be like when you leave and start to really try to get your work done. So it's all in that preparation leading up to that showcase at the end of the summer.
That's so cool. I would like to see how many of the students that performed are still here. And if you are still here and you are a student that performed and you can hear my voice, please come up to the stage if you would. Come on
Pull
back
them out
up.
of the green room.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, she's gonna go grab the green room. And I would love for everybody, come on up, come on back up. Here we go. Oh, we found a bunch. Give them a hand as they come back up here, if you would. And everybody's going to have mic, and then we'll make more room, make tons more room. Everybody come out. If you want to have a seat down here on some of these, you can do that. You want to spread out. So I want to just, before we close, I want to see if there's any other questions for any of these students. And actually, as you're thinking of questions that you have for the students, I want to actually throw out a question of my own, which is, how is this program different than what you thought it was going to be? When you were kind of, in the process of thinking about, do I want to come here? Do I not want to come here? What's different about, what surprised you this year? What is different about this than what you thought it might be? Yeah. Go ahead.
I would say I knew that all the classes would be exciting and the tech and the black box and the studios would be amazing, but I just hadn't realized how incredible the community of people would be, and that was really my main takeaway, was just how diverse skill sets and backgrounds and everything that people brought to the program. And there's no competitive nature really at all. I mean, I personally felt that. I don't think anyone else really felt that, but the competitiveness. Everyone just wants to collaborate and work together and make incredible art, and it's just been an incredible gift that you all did in assembling this group of people. So that was my biggest takeaway and surprise, really.
What about some of the rest of you?
Testing. Awesome. Hi, I'm Casey, and I did my undergrad in dance, which is just about as far from what I'm in now, which will soon be the live music production and design, currently live experience design. And something that was surprising for me coming here and different from what I expected was I kind of thought I would be a lot more behind the scenes like I was today. I was stage managing today. But as a dancer and as a performer, I've actually gotten a lot of opportunities to get on the stage. And the more I do so, the more opportunities I get to be on stage and to be a part of other people's projects and other artists' work. And I think that is really awesome, especially if you've never performed or it's something you're interested in doing more. You totally have that opportunity, and it's all about making friends and just hanging out with your friends, and it happens to be on a stage.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'd like to add, I'm on 9. Perfect. So what's so interesting is I'm not a person who loves academia. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I hate reading papers. So I was really terrified that going into a master's program, I'm gonna have to do more master's intensive stuff, and I am doing that. But it doesn't feel, it feels like it's this big workshop summer camp where you have a goal to make a project at the end of the year. It doesn't feel like I'm doing the things I love and I'm being graded for doing the things I love, rather than having to do things I don't want to do, which was actually such a relief, because I do exactly what I always wanted to do. I leave with a master's degree. I meet all these amazing people. I don't know about other programs, but in S&P, it feels like you're in Camp Rock. If you guys have ever been, it just feels like you're in this big musical summer camp. You walk in the hallways, random people are singing, vocal warm-ups, people randomly break into dance. It's crazy. That's Casey. So it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely not what you would expect a conventional master's program to be in the best way. I think it's so rewarding to be here, to do what I love. It also feels like, I said this before, it feels like I'm working with a label and they're like, hey, you have a year, you have this project to finish, here are all of the resources, the recording studios, the equipment, you can do this. And it just, I love it. We're recording at Power Station Studios in New York City, which is such an honor. So yeah.
8. Yeah, all right. I was the type of person who literally, I said over and over again, I'm not going to master's program. I was like, I'm an artist. Going into the field. I told my parents a million times, not doing the master's. And then, of course, to my immigrant mom with a PhD's, very delight, she was like, oh, he's doing it. Because I found this program, which is, I think, what artists really need. And I'm getting so much out of it, not just in the musical theater writing space, which is what I want to do, but also, like Casey said, I'm getting the chance to perform. I was in the lounge too, with doing something completely different and just exploring new sides to myself and getting such great feedback from not just in my program, but from everyone here in this space. So I'm super grateful. Do it, even if you think I'm not going to go to a master's program. It's special.
I'll add to that too, which is my biggest fear was that I would come and I would receive pushback from wanting to do things differently or wanting to, kind of be myself, and is the exact opposite. It's like everyone's very encouraging and they want what's next for you, but also next for, kind of like culture is a big word. What's next for what your society, for your thing. So that's been really nice.
I'll add one last 10. All right. Oh, there we are. Now that I have 3 mics, just in case. Coming into this program, I thought I was going to write a solo project and had an idea of, I'm going to write this specific topic for my musical, and I'm going to do it by myself and do the book music lyrics all alone. But then actually through different collaboration assignments in class, I found a collaborator who I work really well with. He's a phenomenal pianist, and when we're in the room writing together, it's just kind of a magical experience of, it's not my sound, it's not his sound, it's like this other composition voice in the room with us. And that was so cool to discover here, because I did not have that intent or plan coming in, and the talent was there, the person was in the room, and I just had to find him.
I think I'm always saying that the best thing you get out of college is your college buddies, is your network, the people that you meet, and the fact that you now have a tribe, and everybody's going to kind of come up together, and that's a really strong bond, and so that's it's great to see, and that's one of the most rewarding things, is seeing everybody come together. At first they don't know each other, they're just starting to get to know each other, and by the end, they're just thick as thieves, man, and everybody's just like formed these friendships and this super network of people that are going to go out and conquer the world together, which is awesome. So questions from you guys? Yeah, we have somebody right here, and actually, Casey's having to do dual duty now.
So hello everyone. My question has a couple of layers, I guess. So sorry for that, and it's gonna be a little bit personal for me. So I'm a classical pianist, and like I feel like I've been living in a bubble. I've been playing classical piano for 18, 19 years. I've been writing music for myself, and as you said, I've been keeping it for myself. So I was too shy to share with the people, just maybe for my really close friends and family. And so I will try to share it. I don't know how I'm gonna be, but I'll try my best. Also, as I said, as I saw in the background, like you all were using the Ableton, but I was using a little bit with Pro Tools. Is it gonna be a problem? I don't know. So I'm not as I said, professional about it. As I took from the conservatory, I was taking some music technology courses, but not Ableton. So
I would just say Pro Tools is great, and you'll probably keep using Pro Tools here. And but at the same time, I would also, as somebody who knows a lot more about Pro Tools than I know about Ableton, I would very much encourage you to get into Ableton as well. And we've heard from so many people who didn't have Ableton chops just 3 months ago, and now you probably would say that you're probably glad that you picked it up, wouldn't you say? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Sophie. I am a Logic user. I came into the program a Logic user. I've never touched Ableton, and I feel like they do a really good job. There's like an Ableton lab, and the music production class, they do such a good job at breaking it down to you simply, and you will if you're not an Ableton user, you will catch up. It's actually simpler than it looks. If you know one DAW, you probably know all the other DAWs. It just takes some time to warm up to the DAW. And also Pro Tools is a plus, because we're always using studios here. Pro Tools is a standard for studios. So there's also the engineering class whereby we're mostly using Pro Tools, and you also learn how to use Pro Tools as well. So you're not gonna, using Pro Tools is not a weakness, it's a strength. And actually knowing any DAW is not a weakness. In fact, I feel like being here will allow you to be more flexible, and now I feel like I'm capable to produce in Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools. I feel like whatever DAW is thrown at me, I can manage to work it, which is which is a very powerful asset for me, I feel, and it's something I earned here. Before that, I learned on GarageBand, barely into Logic, walked in, now I'm producing in all DAWs, and like I kind of use all, like if I want something electronic, I know to jump to Ableton. If I want something more singer-songwriter, I'll jump to Logic. So you'll be fine. don't worry.
I'll just chime in really quick too with one sort of big picture thing and then one really practical tip. There's only one class in SMP where you're required to use Ableton. In any other class, you can use any DAW of your choosing. And really, DAWs, it's just your palette. We really encourage you to use the tool where you're going to be most creative and most joyful in creating. I do agree with Stephen, though. Ableton is a really powerful DAW, and there is a Coursera class that's it's just a 3-week Ableton starter. If you Google it, you'll find it quickly. And really, if you take that in 3 weeks, you're going to be up and running. So for anyone who wants to check it out, I would suggest that. Yeah. I think, Ben, you had something to say.
Oh, yeah, I also had only used Pro Tools before I got here. And when I got here, every time I opened Ableton, I got so stressed out. I had so much anxiety. Like, just the loading screen from Ableton, I was like, this is going to be hard. This
It doesn't
is not
look
gonna
like
be
it's
fun.
done yet either.
Yeah,
The interface is like, this doesn't seem done.
No. But now, when I open Ableton, it's like, I get so excited. I'm like, I see that loading screen, and I'm like, yeah, come on. This is going to be fun. And I really love it. I don't... It was weird. I just encountered so many issues at first. Like I had so many problems. I couldn't get it to do what I wanted ever. I was always like one step away from, throwing my computer out the window. And now, like, I couldn't really like describe how those things stopped happening, but I just don't have issues. I'm probably gonna go home and like nothing's gonna work now that I'm saying this, but like, I don't have the issues I was having. It's only been 3 months, yeah, the support network here is just amazing. Like, if you have a problem, there's 10 people that are going to be ready to help you figure it out and do it in a way that's not overwhelming and not stressful, and just like there's so much help here. So no need to be worried about anything, really.
Thank you, Ben. I just want to mention one thing. Rachel, who is one of the students in my program, the camera over there, just pulled me aside and was like, you have to mention, we have lots of international students here. It's a STEM program, and it's a 2-year visa, and you can get a social security number as part of this. It's really important, and we really support our international students well, and I just want to bring that up. And Rachel, did I get that right? Right. My boss, Rachel.
Yeah,
Yes,
I have another question. Sorry.
Go for it.
And so, do we have to perform the songs that we are writing? So.
This is not a performance degree.
Yes. Because
nobody has to perform.
Okay, perfect.
We make the opportunity to perform. In some ways, I kind of see this as artist development finishing school. And it's interesting too, because a lot of the labels, all the major labels, are here in New York, and they're very interested in what's going on here, because major labels don't develop artists anymore. So they see us and go, oh, you're developing artists? Well, let us know when you're going to be doing showcases. We're going to show up. But you don't have to perform. If you want to be a writer, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Michael Jackson aside, most theater writers don't go out there and perform their own stuff, and there are a lot of songwriters who are songwriters, and they're not in front of the in front of the mic and in front of the camera. If you want to be, however, we want to encourage that, and we this is such a symbiotic campus where the writing and design for musical theater and the live music production design, songwriting and production people all work together. We need fodder. We need people on stage, and it doesn't matter what program you're in. As Casey was saying, if you're a performer, we're going to get you up there. And if you think you might want to be a performer, this is a good place. This is a friendly place to do that, to start getting some chops in that if you think that's what you want to do. But you don't have to. It's not required at all. Anybody want to add to that, or is that... No. I blabbed long enough that... Yeah, another question.
To the students. So I would like to hear more or less how is your routine here, because it looks like so much content, and I know that's a kind of stuff that you can stay days and hours and months working on something. So the mix of being here and working alone at home. So how it works? It's like a 24/7 activity.
I haven't slept since August. Just kidding.
I can start by responding to this. It's hard. I think you learn a lot of your boundaries and you learn how to manage your time for yourself. One of our professors loves saying that sleep, eat, hydrate. Like that's all you have to do. Like you do those three and you get to work.
At least we have to do two, and at least we have to do two, and at least one can be substituted by coffee. That's what we have said. So if you always see us with coffee, with tea, something, always.
But I will say, I am a student here with disability, and I have accommodations, and everyone here has been really great in helping to support me and making sure that I am okay going through the program. But it has been hard, but it's also been good to be in a space where I can say, this is really hard, and people listen, and people support, and they help you. And they really want what's best for you. And it helps you understand what is going to be best for you. And so you can establish the routine that you're going to keep for the rest of your professional life and understand, hey, this is a boundary that I need to establish now so that I can maintain it in the professional world. Because here I have people who support and help me who are my friends, but maybe out in the professional world, you're gonna enter an environment where you don't know anybody and nobody knows that you have these boundaries and these needs that you need to be met. So, but it is a really good place to develop that routine. You don't need to have a routine coming in. You can learn. You can make mistakes, which is really awesome that you can make mistakes here, and it's okay.
I was totally kidding about that. Don't worry. I sleep a lot.
Yeah, we do sleep.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There are couches. There's a lot of couches. A lot of really comfy couches.
No, I was just gonna add, I feel like the emphasis towards how to care for yourself as an artist is huge here, and it's that in itself is an art. Just understanding that we're all these very dynamic and we do need a lot of care that comes from ourselves. Chiefly, but again, that support system is always there for you, and I think what the core amount of classes are. I think if you are only taking the core amount of classes, it's not hugely overwhelming. I don't think.
Yes, it is. Yes, and it is. It is about 40 hours a week, though. With being in class and doing assignments, I would kind of budget that. We are, some people do work part-time, but this is a pretty all-in year. And that's, it's a one-year master program, so we're putting a lot in there.
I encourage people, if all possible, to not work outside of here, to make this the focus. I know for some people that's not possible, but there's also graduate assistantships here. I should mention that. There are, kind of work study things and a lot of them actually even have to do with the kind of things that you might want to be learning anyway, which is great. But it is intense. It is intense. It's a one-year thing. One of my favorite moments was I love the short elevator rides I have with students. And I remember asking a student about 6 weeks in, so how's it going? And I'll always remember this. He says, I'm sufficiently whelmed. He wasn't overwhelmed. He wasn't underwhelmed. He was sufficiently whelmed. So we try to keep you sufficiently whelmed, and not overwhelmed, but not underwhelmed either.
And everyone really truly does want what's best for you and what's best for your work, and they want you to be able to produce your best work, and that doesn't happen if you're not okay.
I will say, personally speaking, like the hardest, because we're doing what we love, right? It makes it very easy that the time comes naturally. The hardest part for me is bringing something into Julianne or Dan that I know could be more fully fledged, but because we're just like back to back, we're getting such good feedback. That's, I think, the hardest thing on my end is like, I know I could put a year into just this project, but like we're going, and great work comes out of that too, you know?
Yeah, we have a question right here.
I have two questions. The first is, how large are the classes? And the second is, how easy is it to find affordable student housing?
You want to field this one?
Who wants to take the class size? Which one of you guys take that?
Yeah, for WDMT, you're in class. The core classes, you're in class together all the time. And right now, this year, that is 16. Last year, we had 20. It can't be larger than that without splitting it. So it's really manageable. And what I love about it is there's a real intimacy in that, and that you get to know each other's work really well. Looking at future collaborations, and faculty gets to know everybody really well, and you get to know faculty really well, so that there is, I think, a deeper relationship because of that. And I think it's probably similar for you all.
Ours are about 8 to 18 with an average of about 12. Aside from our one class every week, our seminar class where all of the SMP students get together in this very room. Yeah.
And you can have some of the electives get down to maybe 4 people at times. So.
Then you got another question too, right?
And for LMDP? There we go. For our program, we are just 14 students, which makes it real great. We all know each other. We all know what we're working on. We do support a lot between us. I think that's great, being able to know your peers and know what they can do and what you can provide. It's wonderful. In terms of housing, I had the horror story of this year, but I think that as soon as you can find your own place and people to live with, that will be fine. There's a lot of resources that if you are moving into New York, I would say that right now, it's the moment to start looking. It's never too early. I'm sorry to tell Harley, I know she's not here, but it's false to just start looking 6 weeks before. No, start looking already. It's the best thing to do. If you can, work with peers that are gonna be here next year. That will be also a great tip.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as soon as you're accepted, there are Facebook group chats and a space to find other people who have been accepted. And if you are looking for housing and you think you want to live with a roommate, like, start there. Just go straight there, because that is your best bet of finding affordable housing, is living with a roommate. And if you're okay with a commute, start in the boroughs.
I think that's really the most important thing, is like, once you've decided and you've been accepted, is like deciding on whether you want to have roommates, and then finding within these, the rest of the larger cohort, if there are people that you want to room with. New York City housing is tricky. If you look too soon, you will lose that thing that you thought was the best place ever. And so you have to kind of know it's the right timing. And so we will help you with that. We'll kind of give you all of those resources to know what's the best way to do it. But if you do it too soon, you're going to lose the places unless you go ahead and want to pay extra rent ahead of time. It's just, you find out when you're going to move to the city and then plan it out that way. But the roommate piece of it really communicate with each other, because that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I also just wanted to add as a very important resource, if you don't know it already, streeteasy.com is the go-to to find anything, any legitimate listing in New York and all the surrounding boroughs as well. Yeah, and like it was mentioned, I would create a list of what's important to you, whether it's proximity to school or the neighborhood that you're in, cost of living, all of that, and that would be a starting point, along with maybe finding someone to live with if that's what you want. But definitely create a sheet of some sort to prioritize.
Gypsy housing is also good.
I live with another person in the course, and I was a little bit of a creep, and I found out. So when we all got our acceptance letters to get in, she posted this photo of her with her acceptance letter and was like, got into Berklee. And I saw that she posted it on Instagram and tagged Berklee, and so then I messaged her on Instagram, and then we talked the whole 6 months before I moved here, and then that's how I found mine. So you can always link up there too. That's kind of a weird, creepy, and she wasn't even that creeped out, so that was good. Now we're best friends, so it's great.
Also, just know what you need too when you're looking for a place to live. Think about your priorities. For me, that's an elevator, which is really hard to find. And then, there's other things are you okay with not having a dishwasher? Are you okay with not having washer dryer in your apartment? Are you cool with going 2 blocks down to the laundromat? What do you need?
I will say, living in New York is expensive, and not, just not to sugarcoat it. And that is something that you do have to think about. And when you're budgeting this year, it's definitely something to think about. So don't want to sugarcoat that piece, because it's one of the more expensive places, obviously, to live in the United States, if not the world. But it's that's the thing. You're living in New York. I mean, it's like you're basically in a you're in a thriller movie every day. Just walking down the street. I mean, it's an amazing place
in
to be.
a good way.
More of a rom-com.
In all sorts of ways. In every single kind of way.
You're the main character in your New York movie coming of age.
Exactly. Did you have something to add? I thought I saw you.
Oh no, just earlier, yeah, I wanted to add to all those things that you're looking at. The subway, memorize that. Know where the closest stop is. Honestly, it's the best way to get around in New York. It's almost impossible to drive. I'm sorry?
Fairfares. Fairfares is just cheaper.
It's a
cheaper
discounted Metro card. It's half off. You will
And it
probably
really
get
adds
it.
up.
For those of you who are in New York now, potentially maybe your families live here. I live with my parents. It's not ideal, but you save that rent money, and like we've been saying, I'm putting myself out there a lot, and I'm really just like we've been saying, we're here a lot of the time, we're working a lot of the time, so I get that distance in other ways, but if that's at all possible for you, I do recommend it. It's
All right. Tell you what, let's do one more question, and then we're going to, for those of you who would like to do a tour of the facilities, we're going to do that. So who would like to have the last question?
Dun, dun, dun.
Get it while it's hot.
Oh, man.
Anyone at all?
Oh, man. Going once. All right, there you go.
Look at that.
Boy, that was a cliffhanger. There.
Hey, how you doing today?
How's it going?
Good. I came in here today. I didn't realize everybody was going to be doing performances, and that was really cool. I love to see that.
It's just Berklee.
Yeah, it's
People randomly singing.
No, it was a really cool experience, and I can see that each and every one of you have a very unique personality about you. Everybody's got a unique story, and you're able to bring that into your performance. So, my question for the artists is, when it comes to making a career for yourself, and marketing yourself to a target audience and creating a brand and an image, where's the transition between staying authentic to who you are and trying to fit a mold of what the audience wants to see? So.
Come to CMAT on Wednesdays, and all of those questions will be answered. That's a huge part of our sort of core class is it's creative media and technology is big seminar every week. Yeah, I personally am like, I have a hard time with social media. I always have, but a lot of the last 3 months in that class have been directed towards like how to engage with it in an authentic way that feels right and real to you individually. And yeah.
And if I can add to that, I think there's a big emphasis here on storytelling, and that doesn't mean fabrication necessarily. It just means like bringing your identity into different aspects of storytelling, whether it's through music or through lights or whatever it is that you really like to do. One of our final projects is actually to build a portfolio that's in our video design, a small reel that showcases all your work or what you're capable of. So I think this year is definitely a part of that process. It has been for me. I'm still trying to figure out where I sit in this entire industry. It's huge, especially in production. So, yeah.
I think it's hard for us to 100% answer just because it's still our first semester as well. And I feel like this whole first semester has been trying a lot of different things and seeing what you vibe with the most. At least for me, I feel that way. I was very much like in a box of playing the guitar and singing back home. But I really love producing now, and I produce for myself and other people, and it's really fun. So I think like the first semester is definitely just like using all of the tools that are in this building and doing lots of cool stuff, and then seeing what you vibe with the most, and then kind of forming your CE around that, and then having it more of a like pigeonholed plan from that point onwards. Yeah.
I would also say that someone told me a long time ago, like, self-promotion is self-value, and I feel like the authenticity is sort of why you're doing these things and sort of why we put ourselves out there as artists in general, right? It can be strange and conflicting to have a job or make money off of something that is so vulnerable and something that's so personal. But I think to be able to discern those things, it's really what you're learning here is like a sense of self. And the stronger sense of self, like the easier I think promoting becomes, because it's a type of communication. Like you're communicating to people what you want them to know about you, and you have control over like what that is.
Yeah, to add to that, just the fact that you're an artist who's making this stuff, it means you are digging into something deep within you, even if you're making the most commercial, I make the most commercial pop music ever. I feel like I'm always still tapping into my inner self and telling my own story, and people can feel that. And I feel like even at times where I felt pressure to do what others are doing to become successful, I feel like being here, I've always been reminded to kind of remember my stories and my own identity, and just trying your best to actively not lose sense with that I don't think you will lose yourself. It will get overwhelming at times, but I feel like work on telling your story and people will resonate with it, people will love it, and that's how you get there. There are tools. You do need to do things like promotion, TikTok, social media, whatever. These are things, it's an industry after all, but I feel like if you always tap into your inner self, you will never lose your inner self despite everything around it. So, yeah.
Yeah, promotion has always been a big, like, question mark for me, especially coming from dance and having a lot of these, like, different artistic backgrounds, and especially coming here, and now I have even more artistic backgrounds, and how do I label myself, and how do I communicate to people what I do? And I think that's a big part of, especially in the design program, we're trying everything, but we're trying everything to understand how we can best communicate what it is that we love and are passionate about to people we want to work with, or to people we want to sell our work to. And there's also an understanding that, you know, we live in society, we live in the world, and you're gonna have to be able to navigate that and be able to make money, and there are people to answer your questions and help you along the way, and it's really something that is encouraged to ask questions about and be curious about. You know, how do I label myself, or how am I supposed to sell this project? How do I get money to fund this other project? And there are really people and resources to guide you. You know, it's not just like there's a class about social media. yes, there is. We do a lot about social media, but it's understanding that the world is a diverse place and you can find your place in it, but it's a journey to get there, and we're all here like trying to figure that out.
To Casey's point about projects, the first week I came here, I heard this term artist project for the first time. Everyone was like, I just started this new artist project, or I'm working on, and I didn't know what that was. It turns out that is just, a music, now I feel like I'm gonna mess it up. It's like an artist project is just another version of yourself, right? And the artistry that you're putting out, the music you're putting out. And I think we should treat it as a project, right? That is, if you're coming here, you think of your artistry as you're taking it seriously, and you do want to make a career out of it in some way, right? And I want to move out of my parents' house. So we have to treat it that way. And a project, you have to put in the work, and you have to put in find the angle, right? And the way to sell it to people, even if that's not the full length of it, the full range, the full depth, they'll get that full depth once you get them in the door, if that makes sense. So I've been so grateful to learn those tools here, for sure.
First off, thank you for that question. That's a great question, and I'm so glad you asked it. And I'm super excited about the answers that we just received from everybody. I've been doing this a long time. I might be the oldest person in the room. And in my experience, it doesn't work to be inauthentic. It really doesn't. If you have the idea that I've got to do something that's not me in order to quote unquote make it, you're setting yourself up for failure. In my experience, it just doesn't work. So it is a matter of figuring out how to be authentic and address the world, on terms that are going to work. You want to find the tools and the procedures that are going to help you be effective and succeed at it. But it really has to come from an authentic place, and holding on to that is something. I'm just glad to hear that from everybody that's being, that's being put forth in all the classes and the community that we have here and all that kind of stuff. So that's really great. I do want to I want to try to bring this to an end here. And I'm going to ask the program directors each to say just one thing to leave everybody with while they're thinking of that. And Loudon's coming back to the stage since he's wearing many, many hats today. I do want to just say to everybody in the room, as well as everyone joining us virtually, once again, the January 15th deadline for applications for the fall semester. Be thinking about that. We've got a good amount of time between now and then, a good 6 weeks or so, but be thinking about that. And again, don't get too freaked out about the portfolio. Don't get too freaked out about the application process. Just be yourself. We really are just wanting to know who you are. And we're just want to have a conversation with you and learn from your application, your portfolio, what it is you're doing, what your goals are, what you want to do, to see if this is a good fit, and we'll put our class together that way. But let me go to each of the program directors real quick. Let's start with Arun, if we could. Yeah, let's give the students a hand.
Give the students
again.
a hand. Come on, that's great.
Great job, you guys. Excellent work. Arun.
So there have been a couple questions about all the work, and a lot of this can seem kind of intimidating and crunched into 1 year. I just want to reiterate that if you're willing to learn, we're here to support you, and that what we hope is that you don't have to become perfect by the end of this year. You don't have to figure out who your artistic voice is. What we're hoping to give you is just a foundational experience that you can build on from where you leave from here and create your career based on that.
Cool. Julianne?
Don't be afraid to apply. Just go ahead, put everything into your portfolio that you may not even know for sure if it's right. Just don't be afraid, because I guarantee that if this is the right place for you and you end up spending your year with us, it will be the most incredible year of your life.
I'll give a piece of advice for being here. Create a huge body of work and take the top 10%. Always fight for your top 10%. Crap is a beautiful fertilizer for beautiful flowers. So write as much crap as you can so that you can get that top 10% and have a beautiful bouquet of flowers.
I hope.
You gotta wake people up, you know?
I hope it's come across that we're all friends and we enjoy doing this together. And you know, I think the joy we have together just propagates throughout the entire place. It's a really just fun place to be, and I really love these people, and we love the students. It's a small community, it's a tight community, and that's really one of our biggest values. I love that about the place.
I don't really care for any of these folks, but you know, no, I'm just kidding. These are the most incredible people I have ever met. In coming to work every day and getting to actually be with these folks, as well as our students, as well as our entire staff, is just such a privilege, I gotta say. This is one of those rare instances where everybody seems to really love each other and get along. And that's in academia, that is so rare. Usually different departments have these silos, and partially because of the way that we all designed this, we have to collaborate all the time. But that seems to have made it into a situation where you know, people really do get along and really care about each other. Go ahead. What were you guys? We even hang out on the weekends. That's crazy. That's nuts. Anyway, all right. So once again, thank you all for joining us. We're going to do a facilities tour for those of you here. Those of you who have been joining us online, thanks again. Once again, January 15th deadline. Please apply if you think this might be a good fit for you, and we will see some of you here next year. All right. Thank you guys very much. So for those of you who would like to do a tour, if you would,